everybody. Thank you again for joining us for the 2021 annual general meeting. And we always go back and forth about what number it should be called. We're wrapping up the 2021 fiscal year, which actually ended on September 30th of 2021. So that's the naming. So I'm assuming everybody has seen the circular. It has the proposed agenda. Before we accept the agenda, I would like to make one small addition, and that is after the president's report, I would like to have Andrew Sepiano, assuming he can join us, do a small presentation and discussion about ONCA, which is encompasses the new bylaws and way that not-for-profits need to operate in Ontario as of October 19th of last year. It's called ONCA 2010. You can tell how long it's been gestating before it was actually released. There's Andrew. I see him there now. So thank you for joining. I'm glad you got in. So barring that change, I'd like to propose that we accept the agenda. Anybody care to move on that? Ted moved.
Second.
Sorry, I'm hearing a voice but not seeing. Oh, Tatiana was seconding. All right, thank you very much. So the other part, or another part of the package that went out through the web link, was the minutes for the 2020 annual general meeting. I'd like to open up the floor to any comments or recollections that might be different than what was captured. Hearing nothing, do we have a mover to accept? Yep. Harriet's moving. I can second, and we will move on from there.
Sorry, who was the seconder for that?
Me.
Okay.
Alrighty. Moving right along. Next agenda item is the report of the president. So bear with me while I read a little bit of text that I have put together. Again, first off, I'd like to thank everybody for the virtual attendance again today and supporting the Switch mission over previous years and over the last year. Another year of COVID is under our belts, and as a group, we've sort of figured out a new flow. Our board meetings continue to be virtual, as do the open meetings. We have a little bit of paperwork that goes back and forth by mail or drop off in people's mailboxes. We have continued to take advantage of the virtual meeting format in the sense that we have brought in speakers from Toronto and the wider Eastern Ontario region, which has been very useful to expand our scope. And this has all been done with the driving that used to accompany a visiting speaker. It has certainly also broadened our attendance as well, having had attendees from as far away as St. Catharines of recent memory. The flip side is I still miss getting to say hello in person and hearing the chatter of discussion, before and after a live meeting. It does, Zoom and Teams does not replace that by any means. Before Omicron hit, we were looking to start doing a hybrid model back at the Seaway co-working space, but maybe we will try that again in 2022. I just want to cover a few highlights from the last year, as we had a good turnout and very interesting speakers. The wider net that I mentioned included Brooks Sheen from Flow on the current state of EV charging, Robert Andrews from Heliolytics on aerial analysis of PV field performance, and Steve Sotil at Canopy Growth on their energy efficiency processes. And I just want to point out that we should all be, collectively patting ourselves on the back. Both Rob and Steve indicated that Switch was a significant factor in their early success, and that we should be very proud of what the Switch community has meant to the Kingston community. So kudos to all of us. We have recently heard updates from the Green Team research group at RMC, and current initiatives at St. Lawrence College as well. So keeping in touch with our academic partners. There was also a very exciting presentation on the geothermal heating project being put in place by Podium Developments at their geo development at 575 Princess Street. So that's some of the highlights from the open presentations. The behind the scenes work never ends, and we had actually a very busy year on that front. First off, I'll say that Shannon and I continued to participate in the community engagement sessions for the Kingston Climate Leadership Plan, specifically on the mitigation technical team. This plan was unanimously endorsed by City Council on December 22nd of last year. So no doubt we will start seeing all the actual practical rollout from that going forward. Rosie, thank you, Rosie, again, led a very informative interview series with local companies and organizations. Our goal here was really to get a fresh measure of what larger organizations in the Switch community would like to see from Switch. Feedback ranged from supporting funding programs again to helping raise awareness on initiatives that might overlap, with the Switch mission, to peer-to-peer information sessions coordinated by Switch for educational purposes. There was certainly talk of a return to conferences, and this was certainly in the cards before COVID hit, and hopefully it's something that we can start wrapping our heads around again moving forward, assuming there are no more surprises. On a more business development front, Spark Center, the Durham Region Economic Development Agency, has become a member, and we have had significant interaction with them already. We were consulted on their green economic development initiatives for foreign investors, and have provided companies in their region with introductions into the clean tech network in our space. We have also been invited to take part in the Eastern Ontario Innovation Corridor, which is an initiative to sort of provide an umbrella for all the economic development opportunities in our larger region. Given that the mission of Switch, when it started, was economic development from renewable energy, there's certainly a good fit there. We'd also like to thank two former board members, Andrew Backus and Harriet Waterman, for organizing and leading 4 hydrogen fuel special sessions over the course of 2021. I'd like to thank them again for their extra efforts, and the knowledge that was gained and the connections that were made related to the potentials for hydrogen. I'm going to stop here for just a second and try and share my screen, and hopefully I get the right slide. Can everybody see this presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to spend a bit of time talking about another major initiative that we took on last year, which was an application to the City of Kingston Heritage Fund for a project that we called 20 Years of Nurturing Kingston's Sustainable Energy Future. Rosie was kind enough to point this in our direction, and another organization she's with received money the year before, and she thought that it would be a good fit. Since 2022 is our 20th anniversary of the incorporation of Switch, it certainly to me seemed like a good opportunity to reflect on what's been accomplished, and also to try and get all of our very disparate information together in one space. This will certainly help moving forward over the next 20 years. As part of this, there's going to be a major public initiative which will include a series of interviews with key supporters over the years and some public events that we're planning in the fall to release these commemorative documents or the commemorative resources. So on the left here is the sort of notice. On the right is a little bit of information about the project as it, we were one of 4 project grant awardees, and there's the dollar value of what we've received to help us make this happen this year. And I'll just switch to the second page. Deliverables are really 2 things. Collecting all of our archival material is one, and there's a breakdown. You don't need to, we won't worry about that. And the second, as I said, is outreach to key contributors and stakeholders, and hopefully at the end, some type of a flyer and web information on that. So I will stop sharing on that front and continue on. A couple more quick items, which are more operational, that I wanted to include in the sort of behind the scenes updates. Over a year ago, we started looking into changing our year end from September to December. This was largely driven by the fact that, you know, when our AGMs were in February, it was often hard to get quorum just because the weather was quite often very poor, to say the least. So we've looked, last year just didn't work for internal timing. This year, again, thanks to largely to Rosie and the whole team, we got our ducks in order and got all the paperwork and everything else. And Adam was a very major, from Secretary Ross and Perry, was a major contributor there as well. We got everything into CRA. We knew we had lots of time within the 8 to 10 week turnaround time that they promised on their website. When we got back to them in January, they said, oh, it's no 18 to 20 weeks now. So we were hoping to have this formalized for this AGM, which we pushed out a month in preparation for this. So the plan is to have the calendar year be our corporate year. And that way we can move our AGM later into the spring. So have an April or May AGM, which should solve the weather issues, assuming we get back to doing this in person. So there's the long ramble on that. The final thing that we've dealt with, which started in the fall, was another initiative an initiative to implement ONCA. And we're including it in this AGM because we're assuming that it started in the stub year for the last, for the fiscal year change. So I'm bringing it up now, and we actually have Andrew Safiano, who's going to talk a little bit about it just to get everybody familiar with what it's all about. It does change how we will operate, and it has meant some major changes in our bylaws, which we'll go into. Finally, the thank you section of my report. Again, on behalf of the board and myself, I'd like to thank the membership at large for your continued support and attendance at our meetings, and we appreciate that. As president and board chair, it's certainly been a pleasure to work with the board over the last year. I'm always impressed with you know, the deep knowledge and deep talents that the board brings to the table. You know, we've had a number of interesting challenges and opportunities this year, and everybody steps up to, pull their weight and bring what they can to the table. So again, to the board, thank you very, very much. On the sad note, I note that both Shannon Claggett and Ted Hsu will be stepping aside from board duties this year. Shannon has a new position at Loyalist College, where in addition to a longer drive, I'm sure she's in the steep learning curve of a new position. So I would like to thank Shannon for her 9 years on the board and being president before I took on the mantle, and teaching me how to run the show. Ted is stepping back, as probably most know, to run in the upcoming provincial election. We will certainly miss his capable support as secretary this last year, and the prodigious recollection of operational details and history that he brings to the table. The corporate knowledge within Ted is quite impressive. That said, Ted's promised to stay connected, so we will be picking his brain when and if necessary. Finally, I note that Ian Arthur's 3-year term is up. All positions except for the student board member are 3 years. So with that, Ian has said he will run again for the board. In the past, he's certainly kept us up to date on what's been going on at Queen's Park, and has brought us a number of speaker suggestions, including the special speaker session with Diane Sachs, which was sort of our last pre-COVID hurrah before things changed. So there's my view on a summary of what's happened over the last year, and with that I will stop, and otherwise to say thank you for everybody for attending the AGM. So at this point, the next agenda item is a quick discussion about ONCA. So if Andrew would like to jump into the fray, I would pass on the baton.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, David. I hope everyone can hear me. Yes?
Yep.
Good. So I will try to keep it brief and keep at about the 1,000-foot level on this new legislation that came into force, as David mentioned, on October 19th of last year, and it is the new law of the land, so to speak, for most not-for-profit corporations governed by Ontario legislation, including Switch. The old act was the Corporations Act, and Switch was previously governed by Part 3 of that act, among a couple other parts in that act, but principally Part 3. The new act, which we call ONCA, is the Ontario Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. And as part of the work that my firm has been doing with Switch over the last number of weeks, is confirming principally two things. One, whether or not articles of amendment, which used to be called supplementary letters patent, were going to be required to be filed for Switch given the changes in the act. And ultimately the conclusion was those don't need to be filed at this time. If the organization ever changed its number of directors from 9, either up or down in the future, then at that point articles of amendment would be needed to be filed with the ministry. But at this point in time, on our review, we didn't think articles of amendment were necessary. The second part that we've been engaged in doing is updating the organization's bylaws to bring them into conformity with ONCA. Now, those I believe David will be posting for the membership and board to review before they're formally passed by the members. And the approach that we've basically taken is the government, as part of passing ONCA, provided on its website a standard set of bylaws that were compliant under ONCA. So it's a standard form of bylaws, and using that form, we started with it and updated it and amended it to bring it in line with some of the current operational provisions that you had in your existing bylaws, so that together with the government standard form plus the amendments we've made to tailor them for Switch's unique operational parameters, you've got a set of modernized bylaws that are ONCA compliant. There's no immediate rush to pass these. ONCA does provide organizations with a 3-year transition period to bring their what they call constating documents, so your articles and your bylaws, into ONCA compliance. So basically, you have until October 2024 to pass ONCA compliant bylaws, and failing which, your current bylaws that are now in force would be automatically amended or deemed to be amended to the extent they conflict with any provision of ONCA. So it's important to have them passed sooner rather than later. As everyone knows, time flies when you're having fun. So October 2024 is gonna come and go pretty quick, and they do need to be passed by your members at a duly called meeting. So presumably your next AGM in 2023. Again, I'll try to be as brief as possible. There's a lot to unpack in the Act. It's over 200 sections. It is a fairly significant piece of legislation. But again, at a 1,000-foot level, the intent of ONCA is effectively to modernize not-for-profit law in this province by giving the law a greater alignment with other corporate law statutes that are out there, and notably the federal equivalent, the Canadian Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. So it brings Ontario in line with more of a national consistency. And the focus here is really on greater transparency, governance, and accountability by organizations to their members. So that's effectively, a lot of the changes are really with a view to those things: transparency, governance, and accountability. The thing to keep in mind under ONCA, and I think the big change for many organizations, and I don't think given the level of government funding that the Switch organization has received so far, there will be a great impact on Switch, but it is something to keep in the back of the mind that under ONCA, depending on whether or not you are a charity, which Switch is not, or you receive more than $10,000 from public sources in a given financial year, there may be a requirement to have a higher level of financial reporting, unless your organization is under certain financial thresholds and the members agree to go to a sort of a lower threshold of financial reporting. It's
Andrew,
yeah.
would you like me to pull up that one table within
Sure.
that presentation?
Sure. And
let me see if I can find it.
so while David does that, effectively it's an annual exercise to determine whether or not you received government funding of more than $10,000 in your financial year, and whether or not the members wish to exercise their voting rights to allow the organization to have a lower level of financial review. And briefly speaking, the levels of financial review are audit being the most comprehensive level of review, all the way down to a review engagement, which is less comprehensive and in-depth than an audit, but still provides some level of assurance by an accountant. And then the lowest level is a compilation, which is basically presenting the financial statements without really digging into numbers and going behind the statements to ensure, you know, there's receipts and what have you to back up the financial statements. So it's a lower level of assurance. And for organizations like Switch, you know, my understanding is, one, you're not a charity, and two, you haven't historically received more than $10,000 from public sources like the government, for example. If you ever do,
not in quite a while anyway.
not in quite a while anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And certainly not this last fiscal year. So where Switch I think is gonna fall is either it will receive more than $10,000 in government sources in a year, in which case it may fall in that first row where you are now a public benefit corporation because you received that threshold amount, but you can still, the members can still opt for a lower level of assurance in terms of financial statements, which is traditionally cheaper than an auditor review engagement. The other row that Switch will fall into, I'm guessing, is the second to last row, where you're not a public benefit corporation because you haven't received more than $10,000 from public sources, and you have less than $500,000 in annual revenues, in which case, again, the organization can, through its members, vote to have a lower level of financial assurance and waive the audit and review engagement requirement, and save that expense if it so desires. So I think that's all I want to say about that. Again, the Act has a lot of things going on in it, and you know, from time to time, I expect there'll be questions from Switch, either its board or its members, about certain provisions under the Act or the bylaws that we've drafted. So we're happy to answer those questions. And I think, David, if you wanted to open it up to the floor for any
I'd say,
questions. Yeah.
Let's take two or three questions before we do that. I just wanted to say the board had talked about doing this ourselves, and very, very quickly came to the realization that no way. So we reached out to Cunningham Swan to lead this transition, and we very much wanted to do it now, get it over with, and move on, so that we knew we were compliant and acting in the best interests of the membership. So I can stop this share. And are there any questions for Andrew? We will be posting the bylaws as modified to our website for everybody to have a look at. And as Andrew said, you know, we've got time to pass this for, you know, by the general membership. Andrew's been working very hard, him and his team, to get us what we think is the final version, but we certainly don't want to push it through because we do have time. Seeing no questions, I'm just checking the other page of windows here. I guess we're good for now. Andrew, thank you very much for your time and for your time today. Appreciate the high level overview. As you said, no doubt we'll be in touch at some point with further questions or whatabouts and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm happy if any member wants to send David a question about the bylaws. I'm happy if David, you want to pass those along to me to answer them at any point going forward. We're happy to do that. So we're here to help, and appreciate the invite to your AGM. I will have to leave to take my kids to school, but I appreciate it, and all the best, everyone, and stay safe.
All right. Thank you. All righty. We now turn in the agenda to the report from the treasurer. Rosie, how's your bandwidth now? You're on mute.
Okay, how's my audio?
Very, very good.
Thanks, David. Good morning. I am your treasurer, the treasurer of the board for Switch. I have been in this role since February 2020. In taking care of these finances for Switch, I rely on the professional expertise of accountant Adam Young from Secker Ross Perry. Thank you very much, Adam, for joining us today. Hopefully you can see Adam on your screen. I'll make a few general comments and then invite Adam to add his thoughts about our financials and about what's new in accounting that affects Switch. So I'm going to try and share a little PowerPoint here. Let's see how that goes.
If it doesn't work, I do have your slides available too.
Okay, you're seeing it there?
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Okay, awesome. I'm just going to show it in this mode. Bitter experience says this is less likely to set off the internet than going to display mode. I'm a visual learner. I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to see the general picture. David has already spoken about how we're working to change the fiscal year, but just so you have a mental picture of it, you can see here I've laid out the years 2021, 2022, and 2023. Are people seeing that okay? Seeing the slide?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the way we were running our year from the 1st of October to the 30th of September. And so that would have suggested we go forward with a year from the 1st of October 2021 to the 30th of September 2022. But as David has said, that would land the AGM in February, like the first Friday of February, deep midwinter. Nothing like today that was -25 this morning. So we did roll our meeting forward a month. This year doesn't seem to have helped a whole lot with the weather. But this is what we asked CRA, can we change our year end so that we're starting for 2022, we're going to start 1st of January and finish up the 31st of December 2022. That means we have to fit in this little stub year. So this is accounting speak about having a stub year that just wraps up from October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. So right now you are here at this moment at March 4th. As David said, we originally had hoped to hear from CRA early in 2022 to know if we could go ahead with this, but now they're saying, you know, don't get too hopeful until like May. So it's just taking a little longer than we expected. Hopefully this is clear, and I guess I should let me just try. Does anyone have any questions about this? I'll just show my last slide, which is these are the financials we're going to look at. The year ended September 30th, 2021.
Sorry, I don't know what to do. What do I do to say I have a question?
Yeah, sorry, because I'm not seeing people right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can raise your hand in Zoom, Helena,
Yeah.
for next time.
I'm looking for oh, there it is, reactions. Okay, raise hand, got it. Okay.
Helen, did you want to go ahead and ask?
Rosie, just not a question, just to point out that in the second bar of the present screen, often 2023, you're still calling it 2022. Just in future, you may wish to. I'm sorry. It's the way my head works. I can't help but see these things. I'm sorry.
It would be like Groundhog Day, right? We're going to do 2022 over and over.
Right.
Thank you very much. I'll make that.
Sure. Okay. I'm off.
Awesome. Any other questions? Because obviously I can hear you. Just yell out.
Quick question, does the stub year go into 2021 or 2022? Is that the question you're asking CRA?
The stub year is October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021.
So you'll submit
It's
that
its own-
or will you submit it with your 2022? That's what I'm asking.
Well, we've just.
Adam, do you?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, my take is it's submitted separately, but Adam would be the truth keeper on that.
Yeah, so typically, Tatiana, the the way that that works is if you're changing your year end, you typically would report to CRA in maximum increments of 12 months. So if we're going October 1, 20 to September 30th of 2021, that's one distinct period. If we're going to change the year end to a December year end, we're going to have 1 3-month stub period to transition, and then you're going to go Jan 1, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, and each consecutive year thereafter will correspond to an exact calendar year.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. So I've just shared again, just so we can have a look at these financials. So looking first at, you can see here, this is the year ended September 30th, 2021. And I'm just going to flip forward, hitting the high spots here. To the statement of financial position at September 30th, 2021. So as you look at this statement of financial position, you can see under cash, we don't have as much cash as we had at the end of our fiscal year that ended in 2020. So that's been gradually being spent. We're spending down that amount.
I think Rosie froze.
I
Here.
do.
Under that.
Rosie, you froze for a sec there.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah.
I think she froze again.
Can I ask a quick question, David, regarding the stump year and the current?
Stable message. Okay. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Harriet.
Harriet, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, will we be approving in the AGM next year? Will be approving the stump 3 months plus the full year, or is there a separate meeting for that, Rosie and David?
You want to take that one, Rosie?
So what we decided to do was to include a motion in the circular that you may have seen, so that we're trying to get to set it up so that the board can approve these financials of the stub year and go forward like that. I haven't described that very well.
No, that's good. That's good. And I voted to accept it. So there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sorry that I can't display the financials simultaneously with actually speaking to them. So I'm just going to go with the speaking to them part, and I'll say when you look at the statement of operations and changes in net assets for the year that ended September 30th, 2021. As treasurer, I really want to thank everyone who's renewed their Switch membership. You'll see that membership revenue was up more than 50% over the previous year. This is great support and we really appreciate it. You can also see on that same page that the net assets have drawn down a bit, but it could have been a lot worse if we hadn't had good membership revenue coming in. So at the end, as it happened, and it wasn't really planned this way, but at the end of September 30th, 2021, we appreciated receiving an offer from our director and vice president, Darko Matovic, to work as a volunteer to take care of the administrative aspects of Switch. And that meant that we were able to reduce our costs. And so you'll see as you look at the stub year financials, how that has caused our financial picture to change in a good way. So if you turn to the stub year financials, so the period ending December 31st, 2021, this is a 3-month period, so it's a 1 quarter. If you look at the statement of financial position, unlike the previous statements we looked at, in this case, our cash holds steady, our GIC remains intact because we stopped having those costs for admin. And then if you look at the statement of operations and the changes in net assets, again, we want to thank everybody who has renewed their Switch membership during the stub year. Like roughly, we were hoping for 2,500 in membership revenue, but we received 3,300. This is great support again, thank you. And so you can see on that same page at the very bottom of the statement of operations and changes in net assets that the net assets are going up as we've stopped having costs. And also, as you heard,
Sorry, I was trying to
days
get this.
Are you
Sorry, I was trying to get
slowly?
the stub up in case you needed it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, let me just look at I'm just reading from my notes here. Okay. So as you've heard, days after the stub year ended, we received our first like 90% of our grant money from the City of Kingston Heritage Fund. So through a combination of your support and through the board's dedication to cost control and success in grant seeking, we are moving in the right direction financially. I want to thank the board and especially our president, David Heineman, for their assistance throughout the past 15 months, I guess we could say, the year and the stub year. And maybe I could hand over to Adam if you'd like to add your comments, Adam.
Is there any one of the reports that you'd like me to try and pull up, Adam?
Not really, David. I was just thinking if I have the ability, I can pull up that stub period. Am I permitted to? Yeah,
Sure.
looks like
if you see screen share at the bottom, go for it.
Yep. Yeah. So it looks like I've got the ability. Do you folks see now the cover page on that stub period?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, what Rosie was referring to, the statement of financial position, as you're looking at it now, you're seeing there that the cash and investments position from September 30 to December 31 is holding very stable, right? As Rosie was indicating. Also increasing a little bit is your unrestricted net assets, which is the number second from the bottom, right? So plain English, unrestricted net assets is the amount of cash that you've got in the piggy bank that's carrying forward into future periods, right? That's what you're going to be using to sustain the organization, build programming, all that kind of thing. So that's what it looks like. The only other thing I wanted to add to Rosie's comments, those of you who are keen and detail oriented will notice that the wording of the report that rides on the front of these financial statements is a little bit different on the December 31st stub period than it is on the September 30th, 2021 statements. And that is a broader change in the accounting world. So if you are part of other organizations, or perhaps you own your own businesses, you will be seeing that kind of change on any compilation reports from a December 31st, 2021 year end and after. It really doesn't change a lot in the way that we actually do the work. There's a few extra inquiries and discussions that we have behind the scenes with your finance person, Rosie. But otherwise, the look and the feel of the financial statements overall will not have changed all that substantially. And that really, David and Rosie, is all that I wanted to point out. I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks
Perfect.
very much, Adam. And just to say, obviously this has been a little bit different from other years, and there's been a certain amount of needing to figure things out in a hurry, and also needing to ask Adam to do things in a hurry, which he's been very, very helpful with. So thank you, Adam, and thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you kindly. So barring any questions, next agenda is the acceptance of the auditor's report. We can accept the October to September report, and we will have a resolution which you can vote on online about letting the board take care of the stub year when CRA finally gets back to us. So do I have anybody to move to accept the auditor's report? I see Harriet's hand, and I see Darko as a seconder. Thank you very much for that. We hope we tried to make sure we made it clear what we're trying to do and the reasons why. So trying to keep that level of transparency as high as possible. So finally, into the sort of moving forward stuff, the resolutions of the members. We have 4 items that need resolutions this year. One is the board, the election of new board members, the engagement of the accountant, the confirmation of proceedings, and the change of fiscal year end as it relates to the stub year that we just talked about. So first and foremost on that is election of the board of directors. If you're working through the circular that Ted has provided, there's a list there of the board members for the last year, which ends today. The one thing that's important to point out and will be a subject of discussion going forward is board members are elected for a 3-year term, and so those that are continuing their 3-year term include myself, Rosie, Darko, Carrie, and Paul McClatchy. Ted is partway through his 3-year term, but as indicated, is stepping back to deal with the provincial election. So we have one more person or position to fill than normal this year. So there are 4 seats available, a student director, at least 1 director in government utility, and 2 more in any of the 3 categories that are up for general nominations. The nominees this year include Abdul Razak Jandi from KEDCO in the in the government utility category. As indicated in the circular, there was no one else who ran in the government utility, so Abdul has been acclaimed in that role, so welcome aboard. The other 4 applicants that are on the docket are Maria Skardaki from RMC in Queens, Nicholas Lakopoulos, and I apologize if I'm not getting the name quite right, also from RMC and Geologos. We've got Ian Arthur coming back to put his hat in the ring again, and Tatiana Zaremba, our former admin assistant, would like to help us steer the ship. So those are the 4 that are up for election. What I would like to do now, and as mentioned this at the beginning, I know that the circular contains a bit of a bio, but I'd like to get those who are actually on the call that are running to give us 30 seconds. Maybe I'll start with Abdul. I know you're acclaimed, but it would be very nice to hear your voice and have you speak to it.
Sure. Well, thanks, David. And it's my pleasure, honestly, to serve on the board. So a little bit about me. Probably you're at that. So I've worked in business development for most part of my life. Worked in publicly traded companies. It was a district cooling company, publicly traded. So we served cooling services through through chilled water, the non-conventional, to government entities, metros, to the military. And I used to manage these contracts, which ran for 30 years. I moved to the economic development side of the job, worked with lots of regions, lead generation, and market representation. Most of our clients were in the US, a couple in Europe, and Asia as well. And as my role in Kingston Economic Development Office, I'm the investment manager for sustainable manufacturing, and been attending switches meetings for as long as I've been with Kingston Economic Development Office. I'm new to Kingston. I've been here for 7 months, but we're developing the sector. Everything Switch goes for ticks all the boxes of where the world should be heading and where it's actually heading, and developing this cluster, which has already started for some time, through pushing local companies into opportunities, whether partnerships, whether funding, whether exporting their products that have been invented in our region to the world. That's the best message being sent to what we can offer. And also that would attract foreign direct investment into the region, which would also add new know-hows and new technologies. And it will all serve to develop the economic development situation, climate, and push the alternative energy sector and green tech, anything within that field. So it's my pleasure to work with you. Look forward to it, and it's a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abdul. I just want to point out that KEDCO was one of the founders of Switch, apparently, which we will find out more about when the Heritage Project gets under full swing. But they also provided a small amount of cash to the project as a direct investment in us getting our 20-year story out there. Next, I have up Maria. If you would like to unmute and give us a little bit about what you'd like to bring to the board.
Of course, thank you and good day, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to even apply or to serve in your board of directors. I'm a local. I think I've been living in Kingston for about 30 years. Queen's alumna. I'm an environmental scientist. I started with Queen's facility for isotope research, so it's in geology. But my focus has been primarily on military infrastructure and researching, investigating, employing sustainable energy usage within the military. I think is of paramount importance. And there's also developments that can be, of course, speak to the general public, to the community, developments that have been taken place within the Department of National Defense that could perhaps inform, or vice versa, the society or the public, the general public could influence what happens within military installations. So there's, from my side, a substantial interest, huge interest on the activities and the initiatives by Switch. Also from my team members at the RMC Green Team, as well as my graduate students at Queen's University who investigate sustainable energy usage at military infrastructure. So just in a nutshell, this is what I do. This is what I have been doing for about 25 years. And thank you very much for this, I guess, opportunity. And right. I will continue to even serve, as a member or moving on. It was a pleasure to even give a little bit of a presentation last year.
Yes, indeed.
So yes, hoping to continue on with the collaboration with Switch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciated the presentation. Let's move on to Nicholas. thank you for putting your hat in the ring and tell us what where you'd like to help with.
Yeah, fair enough. No, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good morning to everyone. And I'm a professor of civil engineering over at the Royal Military College of Canada, as well as a director within the RMC Green Team, and had the pleasure certainly over many years to present and to participate in Switch events as well. And I'm also a director or a business owner locally here in Kingston of EL Logos Inc. and dealing with primarily sustainable solutions for infrastructure, trying to take a look at the envelope and the thermal envelope of buildings, and to come up with sustainable solutions in terms of their HVAC systems, as well as their practices, primarily within the military as well, but also other federal agencies. And so, yeah, just very happy to have the opportunity to serve in this capacity, and or any capacity. So, and I commend all of you for your service as well. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Let's move on to Ian Arthur about what you foresee if there was another 3 years.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks. It's great to be here, and it's great to continue to be involved in Switch in any capacity. It's one of the most, I think, dynamic organizations that I've ever been a part of. It was the one that I didn't step away from when I was elected, because of I think the value that it brings. It has been really interesting to sit on this board for the last 4 years as MPP. I very much would like to continue on with the role on the board in my new endeavors in the future. What we're doing is one of 3 partners. We've started a 3D construction printing business. We've partnered with Habitat for Humanity, among others. We're going to try and drive affordable housing forward here in Ontario from a private sector standpoint rather than a public sector standpoint. And we're launching our first prints start next week, and we're printing our first house in April. So really exciting times nonetheless. And I think we're going to try and capture enough documentation of that first house print that I can come back and present to Switch, regardless of the outcome of this election in June, I think, which is really exciting. And I can't wait to show you what we're able to do with this printer that we purchased. So I'd love to continue serving on the board. I think I can bring ongoing connections in terms of other future presenters to it, be it in the new industry I'm in or in all the connections and resources I have from my 4 years as MPP. And yeah, it would be super exciting to get to keep working and kind of get re-energized and re-involved with Switch in my new capacity.
Thank you, Ian. And finally, Tatiana, we're trying to find you on the tiles here. Please, a little bit about what you'd like to bring to the board.
Well, first of all, I've been serving the board for the past 4+ some years, and I'm probably the board's biggest super fan. I've got to know all of you individually and attend all of the board meetings and see how the internal of Switch works. So I think I can bring that continuity forward. I don't think I've missed many meetings. I've been a member now since maybe 11, 12 years ago when fit. A little bit about myself. I'm a graduate from the University of Western Ontario, Black Sheep. I came from the other end of the province. I worked in the aerospace industry for a while out in Vancouver, remote sensing. And then I came back and came home for some family and started in Kingston. I'm a PV specialist. So I'm one of Kingston's commercial solar specialists here. I've built and I own and operate a FIT 1.5 project that I've designed. In between there, before, I worked at RMC as well in the environmental sciences group with some amazing engineers also, and I've got to see across the Arctic and across our country. I bring a passion for sustainable energy that is probably unmatched by anyone in the private industry. I make sure I give away a lot of engineering to other solar people who are building in our area. Any members I can, I try to make sure that I consult with any solar knowledge that I can. Had the pleasure of having such a successful project up and running now 7-8 years, and we're powering 50 homes and houses around us out here in rural South Frontenac. Thank you, Rick Rooney and Quantum, for helping get that up and going. He's like the Maytag repairman. We're working so flawlessly. I'd like to join Switch because I want to keep helping the members. I have not benefited financially. I do not have any political agenda whatsoever. I have nothing but my heart to give to sustainable energy and the knowledge that I've acquired. So I would like to continue doing that. So I would like to serve this board and come join you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. Ted, a quick question for you. Should we go through all the other resolutions and then do a quick break to make sure everybody's voted, or do you want to?
Yes, we should go through the because there's some
Okay.
counting that's needed. So we'll just let members vote, but we should also, if you have anything else to say while people are voting.
Well, yeah, so if everybody
posted the link in the chat.
has not, yeah, the link is in the chat. It was available, I think, within the email that went out. The other resolutions are more housekeeping items. So I'll talk those through while you're either doing the vote or waiting to hear what the results are. The next resolution is to re-engage Secker Ross and Perry Chartered Accountants to be the accountants for the corporation until the close of the next meeting, which would be sometime in 2023. And the directors are authorized to fix the remuneration of the accountants for such a period. That's a vote item within the link that Ted has provided. Any questions on that? I see Darko's hand up for something.
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate that as you go to the vote form, it says you have to sign into Google. You don't need to do that. You should just go. Signing in the Google is only if you want to save your progress and then get back to that later. So ignore that.
Yeah, this is a pretty quick process, so shouldn't
I was
need
gonna
that.
say, it was really easy. It like takes a minute or two, period.
Yes. Again, those other little things that we're going to miss Ted on. The next resolution is, do I want to read it all? All bylaws, appointments, resolutions, contracts, acts, and proceedings of the board of directors and are passed, made, done of, okay, whatever.
Move to accept that.
Ted's comment on that is the relevant items are that the appointment of new staff members, contracts related to filling the conditions of grants that Switch has received, any conditions of physical tenancy for the mailing address, document storage, or holding of open meetings. So you're basically allowing us to keep doing what we do behind the scenes with that resolution. The final one, and I will read this one because it's new this year. Any actions of the officers approved by the board of directors before the next meeting of the members of the corporation, which is required to effect the change of Switch's fiscal year end from September 30th to December 31st, with an extra 3 months added to the 2020-2021 fiscal year. That's not quite right. Added as a stub in addition to the 2020-2021 fiscal year, such that it ends on December 31st, 2021, be hereby approved. So basically you will be voting to let the board and the executive make the change when and if we hear back from CRA. So those are the additional resolutions beyond voting for the new board members. Ted, how long do you think you will be?
We are good. Yeah, I can. The great thing about Google Forms is that it counts for you. So
Essentially instantaneous.
But the old days were so much fun, Ted.
Going into the back room and
Yeah.
counting by hand and making sure you didn't mess up. Yes.
David, it's
Okay, so I
Rosie.
Yes,
think,
sir.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just
Yes,
take
Rosie?
a moment? Just before Ted speaks. Just wanted to be very clear. I was having a side conversation with Adam here. We noted that there was an accidentally misnamed the report that we were reviewing within the treasurer's report. And I want to invite Adam just to clarify exactly what it was that we were voting for there.
Oh, sure. I think, David, when you were mentioning the resolution, I think I caught you mentioning, I think, that the members were to approve the auditor's report, I think was the wording that was used in there. And I haven't looked at the actual motion, but maybe just refer to it as the accountant's report as opposed to the auditor's report, just in the context of the services we're providing.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, there is no word audit in there, so that was me misspeaking.
Perfect.
So,
That's perfect. Nope, that's
thanks.
good. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. Back over to Ted. You're on mute.
okay, just gonna make sure everybody's voted. Got a bunch of responses. So if there's no more voting, I have some results to announce. So the new directors elected, the two that were not acclaimed. So it's Ian Arthur and Maria Skordaki. And the 3 resolutions passed with no votes against. So everybody voted for.
Oh, thank you, everybody who ran for the board. I will be reaching out as being the current board chair, at least until the next board meeting, to get you connected for the first board meeting of the new board. I'd just like to point out, and I forgot to mention this, we did not receive a student nomination this year. We did reach out to Queens and St. Lawrence, and so that's something that we are looking to complete going forward. Unfortunately, I guess it means that there won't be a vote on that, but we would very much like to fill that position and get some student input and energy onto the board. So that's something that'll be carried on going forward. So with that, again, thank you all for bearing with us through all of this, for taking the time to hear all the changes that are happening because of Anka coming in and our attempts to change the year end to make it easier for us in the future. We appreciate your time today. We appreciate your attendance at the open meetings. We look forward to 2022 and the sharing of the results from the Heritage Fund. With that, I will stop and it's time to close the meeting. Would anybody like to move that the meeting be adjourned? I see a lot of hands. I'll go with John this time. And how about we'll pick Ian for second. Yes, this one did go long. We had a lot to cover. Thank you very much. The board, I will be out with the time and link for the next board meeting. We look forward to seeing as many of you as possible in April for the next open meeting. Until then, thank you all very, very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hey, Rick, are you still there?